Sexual violence, we are trying to address the root causes. First of all, there is the poverty. When we talk about the poverty, we are talking about the moral and physical poverty. The moral poverty is all about your side, how you perceive things. And when we are talking about the sexual violence, it starts with your thinking, because it's not just something that comes up and you just engaging yourself in that. So that kind of moral poverty, we address it in empowering our communities about the consequences and also the kind of life we are subjecting that person to. And through our core program, the mentorship program, we normally try to give some kind of psychosocial support, something that we do again with the site, that will prepare you not just to engage yourself into that act, but also how you can also help many more to not to engage themselves into such kind of sexual violence. Also, there is this component of retrogressive cultural thinking patterns. Our communities, we are coming from some strong cultural backgrounds where you find there is wife inheritance, there is this early marriages. To some communities, it's not a taboo, it's something that is welcomed. You find a young girl of 12 years, she is exposed to a marriage to a 60-year-old person. Culturally, it's agreeable. But now, given the time that we are living in this information era, that one is not agreeable with us, and especially we as young people. So such kind of those cultural patterns, we're also trying to address them in a way that we just try to weigh the pros and cons. Tell me, do you want to remain a slave in the kitchen forever? Our motto is, we want to pull you from the kitchen slavery, you girls. Your role is not about cooking and serving men. You can as well serve, you can also be served by men too. We are ready to serve you. We give examples to ourselves. We can serve you too. So we provoke them with such kind of messages. We are trying to decolonize their thinking patterns. Now we are talking about now the physical poverty. The physical poverty, the only way we can address physical poverty is now through our component of economic empowerment, because we want them to sustainably have a kind of an income. So through establishing some kind of income generating activities, and especially for young people like the garbage collection, right now the government has failed in one or the other. It has left the environmental bit for the young people. So we are trying also to exploit it by coming up with creative ideas of how we can recycle the garbage and create some kind of income. In fact, this group, when it started 10 years ago, it started like an environmental club. But all along, it transformed because we realized we can get income from environment. Then we started addressing some other issues which needed to be supported from this income. So we engage them in such kind of income generating activities just to sustain their needs, because we are coming from the backgrounds where the parents are not in a position to sustainably give the right resources, and especially to the young people. Now even the sexual education or the sexual bit is even being discussed even at the household level. Because also we are trying to let the parents understand, if you keep mom enclosed with this information, these young people will get this information from outside and they will get it in a wrong way. So better give them at this point, because you will try to refine it and give it in the rightful way. There is also some components also within our constitution. Sometimes normally use our constitution when dealing with these things. We're also letting the parents understand the rights of children, because sometimes we use just to do and to neglect some of the issues which we feel we as adults or we as young people are not necessarily for young people. So we are trying to enlighten them, the issues which are enshrined in this constitution, and especially touching on young people. So now we've come out of that. The sexual bit is being discussed even at the church level. Sometimes back it used to be like a taboo. You talk of sex, wow, that's a subject for adults. It's not for you.
From the teacher's perspective, and okay, because it has been running for quite some time now. When it started, actually the same problem was there, as in the teachers would shy away and they will not be very comfortable talking to the young girls and boys about sexuality. But now, because it has been incorporated, and the way it is taught now is when you are teaching a particular subject, even on environment, you incorporate the sexual and HIV education. So it's not like information given to you on it's incorporated. When you go to games again, you incorporate that into what you are teaching. So it became easier now to communicate.
Maybe they were not able to ask their teachers, maybe during their sessions, so they are able to ask us. And if it's something that is so complicated and maybe that people is not able to communicate and ask directly, we advise the children to write it down so that you don't know who asked the question. So they write it down, then they pass it on to us. So when we're going through that and we just read the question, but we don't say who asked the question, and at least we try and tackle it in our level best. So communication to us with the children, because they see us in the society, others, and also even if we also young, we try to be like them in school when we go to this club, so they feel so free talking to us.
You find the society is gaining confidence with civil society organizations. Like you'll find somebody might come to report here a case maybe of a sexual violence, and we can take it up, not necessarily with the government, but also with some other well-placed human rights organizations like the FIDA. We can just take up the case with them. If it's a case concerning the children, we can take it to the children's officers. So through such kind of community-based organizations, people tend to gain confidence so much with them other than with the government, because the government, they're just employed. They might say we don't have resources to take that person maybe to hospital or to somewhere else. So you find people are starting changing their ways of handling things. They're now wanting to work with now the established community organizations, like the wife battery, sexual violence, the human rights abuses. Like some few days ago, you find some young people have been so battered by the policemen. It's sarcastic to go and report to the police station a case that involves policemen. So they come through such kind of initiatives. And in fact, sometimes BAC used to have a human rights desk. Only that sometimes the policemen do not like such kind of initiative. They try any other means to fight that down. But with such kind of a desk, you just get the reports here, then take it up with other big authorities.
The system is really corrupt. Even in those cases, rape cases, sometimes you can report the rape cases and then the police are being bribed and then the case disappears. And this is also caused because according to rape cases, there is the period of jail term, which is about 10 to 15 years. So it's better you part with your money than to go to jail for those years. Yeah. So that's how they use police.
I think that just sharing the experience that we had that we have in Brazil, because of this, first things is to change the idea of the domestic violence is something that is only, it's a couple thing. So we need to start saying that domestic violence is something that matters to public system, to public policies, to public health, to the community, because it's affecting our lives in different ways. So it's like changing the mind, changing the wrong assumptions,